Hello and welcome to this ICT theory revision. Today I want to help you get tricks of how you can tackle some of the questions you might receive in your exam. For example, question number 1, if you are asked what is a computer? A computer is basically an electronic machine that takes in and processes data. Then the output of the processing will be useful information. And this useful information you can use to make decisions with. For example, if you have a small company and you want to know how much profit you made, what you will simply do is to use an application like MS Excel, where you will put in data in the spreadsheet. Then the spreadsheet program will help you to process that data using the formulas and even functions. And finally, you will get useful information from that data. That useful information could be information on whether you have made a profit or loss. And that report, you will use it to make your company decisions. So basically, a computer is an electronic machine that takes in data and processes it into useful information that you can use to make decisions. Apart from the use of computer for processing of data, nowadays you find computers being used for communication very much because the gadgets have become smaller. A smaller computer like a smartphone nowadays is used for communication. You can send email, video call, chat, and even browse for more information. So another definition of computer is it is simply a device that is used for communication. Question number 2. Which are the main parts which make up a computer? There are only two, the hardware and the software. When somebody asks you, what is hardware then? Hardware are the physical electronic parts that you can touch, things which you can press, you can move like mouse, buttons, you can press them down. When you open inside the CPU, you see wires, there's a fan, and all those things which you can touch. They are what we call the hardware part of the computer. Now, the software part only runs on the screen, and it is doing a task for the user. For example, if you want to write a letter, you will start a program called MS Word. It will help you by doing the task of writing a letter. So a software must be on the screen and must help you to do a certain task. If something is on the screen and it cannot do any task, like images, they are not software. Those are maybe images or pictures or a wallpaper or a background image. But software must be able to do a task. Question number 3. List examples of hardware devices and categorize them. So, hardware can be categorized into 4 categories. There is only one hardware category called processing devices. The processing device on computer is the CPU. We don't have any other processing device. Another name for CPU is system unit. So when you are asked, give one example of processing devices, you will say CPU. Now, the CPU cannot work alone. It must be connected to other devices. For example, if you want to type some data into the computer or give computer command, you need what we call input devices like mouse, keyboard. Those ones you can use to manipulate the computer. Any device connected to the CPU which is used to feed data into the computer or to give commands to the computer, we call it input device. And examples you can see here, we have mouse, keyboard, joypad, and scanner. Also, after processing, the computer must communicate to you and give you the result. That result which comes from the computer is what we call output. And the CPU must be connected to an output device. And the work of the output device is to show you the result. We have examples here, things like a plotter, printer. These ones give outputs on printed paper. Plotter will give you large images on large sheets of papers. A printer will give small images on printed papers which are small, like A4 or A3. Monitor, this has a screen which shows you what the computer is doing. Projector will show you what the computer is doing on a large screen which is cast on the wall or on a smart board. Another way of categorizing hardware, there is a category called storage devices here. These are simply devices which keep files. They store files for us. Now, the exercise you will do is to go and fill this table with any other device according to your research you will be able to come up with. For example, if you can find out something about joystick, you find out is it input, output, or storage, or processing, then you will fill this table so that it is complete. That is a small exercise for you to do. Question number 4. What are the advantages of using robots in manufacturing of goods such as cars? Robots work faster, that is true. Within a duration of 1 minute, it can even seal 50 bottle tops, okay, because they work very fast. So that is a good advantage because you will produce more goods within a shorter time. Robots do accurate and high quality work, producing goods which are similar, which is true. When you go to these factories, you find that the products made by robots are all similar. For example, look at the cars. All cars of a certain type, maybe Toyota or Nissan, they look similar because robots were used to produce them. If you involve human beings to make them, you will realize that there are small variations in size of whatever they will have done. Robots don't need rest. That is true. They can work 24/7. But humans need rest, so that is a disadvantage. And it is an advantage that robots, if used, you can let them work from Monday to Sunday, 24 hours a day. Another point here, robots do jobs that are dangerous to humans, e.g. mixing radioactive chemicals that can cause cancer, mixing molten metals at very high temperatures. These ones, you human beings, you cannot do because it is dangerous, so robots can be involved and they can do it perfectly. Another advantage is high production of goods within a shorter time finally leads to lower prices of goods produced by the robots. That is true. If you are able to produce more goods within a shorter time, you will use less money in the production and therefore you will be able to charge less for these goods which you are selling. What are the disadvantages of using robots in factories? Also, for every good thing, at least there must be at least one disadvantage. With robots, robots are not creative compared to humans. They can never propose new ideas of improving quality of work, which is true. You see, when you employ human beings, they will even give you new ideas on how to improve. But robots, every day, they do the same job. If it is cutting metal parts, the only thing it knows is to cut those metal parts. So it is not creative. Robots do most jobs that humans will be doing. This leads to unemployment. That is true. For example, you find a robot putting items in the box, and it can even put several items within 1 minute. And that job of putting things in the box can be done by people. So you find that where there's a robot sealing the boxes, those people who will be doing that job are redundant and they have lost job. And that is a major disadvantage of robots. Another disadvantage is large amount of money is required to invest in robots. That is true. Those smaller companies which cannot compete with the larger companies in the technology will find themselves out of business, because the company which will invest in robots will produce more goods of cheaper price than you, and people will not be buying from you. Another question number 6. Which are the advantages of using ICT in supermarkets? You remember very well that each time you go to supermarket, there's a very famous device called barcode scanner, which produce sound like tit, tit, tit when goods are being scanned. That one makes it easier for cashiers to process the sales. So it is an advantage to the employees. They are able to do a less difficult job compared to maybe typing. Another advantage is customers, when they are served faster, we have shorter queues and customers are happy. You go there, within a minute, you are out of the supermarket. Compared to a situation where a cashier will be using keyboard to search for prices of things and to process sales, you will end up with long queues and people will be discouraged to go to the supermarket to buy things. The last point is sales are accurately processed when scanned. Typing of product numbers will have led to errors. That is true. If the cashier will be searching the product number of each item you present at the counter to get the price, then there are chances that this person would be making mistakes while searching. Scanning let the products pop on the screen within seconds, and the customers can be served very fast and accurately without errors. So those are some of the advantages of using ICT in supermarkets. Remember, these questions are common in most ICT examination, so please take a look at them and do more practice and research widely about them. And I wish you the best in whatever exam you might be doing in the future related to ICT. Thank you for participating in this video tutorial. See you next time. Bye bye.